Hey guys, welcome back to Out of Work Outdoors. This is Connery. I am still in the car, just got back home. But today I want to talk about the top 5 reasons why most people are not catching fish on crankbaits. And this applies to all species, okay? But for this one specifically, we're going to talk a little bit towards bass, but any species of fish that kind of hover around cover, trees, rocks, things like that, this will all apply to you guys, okay? So primarily crappie and bass. White bass, they tend to be more open water, but there are times when they do hover in the bushes and offshore structure, offshore rocks, things like that. So this will apply to you too. And when you get on a big crankbait, not big, a good crankbait bite for hybrids and stripers, that deep diving crankbait just wrecks them because they don't deal with crankbaits that deep. And if you just happen to catch them in that 15-foot zone, that 5XD does wonders. So it is. Name's Connery from Out of Work again. If this is the first time you are watching this channel, be sure to subscribe. Check out a bunch of my other channels, my other videos. We do a lot of everything. We do boat stuff, kayak stuff, tournaments, fun, free fishing. We do basically everything. So let's go through my top 5, right? So top 5, number 1 is people don't understand vibration. So vibration is a big deal when it comes to crankbait. So the colder the water, the tighter the wiggle. Springtime, you kind of want medium, or if it's super hot, you want that medium too. But summertime, if you're fishing around stumps, fishing around big rocks, things like that, you want a wide wobble. Wide wobble is basically anything with a big fat lip in it. It's pretty much going to give you a big wide wobble. Round body, big lip, wide wobble. Or a square bill, round body, big lip, square lip, of course, but wide wobble. And a lot of people don't understand that. So that's probably the most common mistake, is just you're throwing the wrong vibration. Okay. So number 4, a lot of people don't understand this. This is the reason why the crankbait category, in my opinion, even exists. Crankbaits are reaction baits. They do not look like bait fish. They really don't. If you look at all the other baits that are out there, the crankbait's got 2 giant treble hooks on it and a big lip. Okay, it doesn't look like anything natural at all. So that's why when you're fishing this thing in open water, you tend not to get bit, right? So it's a reaction bite. It has to do something erratic that basically triggers the fish to bite. So it's got excellent triggering capabilities. Square bills can deflect off rocks. They deflect off of limbs. A big deep diving crankbait will just dredge the bottom in. They'll kick left and right 4 or 5 feet to the left and right, and they come back, and it's just crazy action. Okay, it's something that other baits can't do. They can try to mimic it, but this is where the crankbaits are in a league of their own. Okay, when it comes to triggering the bites. Okay, so you have to understand crankbaits. The reason why they even exist is for the reaction bite, okay? So what that means is a lot of people don't even understand what a reaction bite is too. So a reaction bite is if a fish is not hungry, eat anything, right? So you throw a swim jig in there, it won't bite it. You throw a swim bait in there, it won't bite it. You throw a worm in there, it won't bite it. Throw a crankbait in there, he ain't got a choice. He's either gonna smoke it or he's gonna get out of the way. So let me explain the perfect situation, right? There's a bass sitting by a stump. Okay, throw everything in there. He ain't hungry. He doesn't care. Throw a crankbait in there. You reel it straight out. You are trying to basically reel this crankbait and try to hit this bass. That's your goal. Try to hit a bass with crankbait. And a lot of times, you actually don't hit the bass. The bass will get out of the way, or it'll stay out of the way for that matter. But if you hit that stump and it deflects right at the bass has a split second to do something. It's either got to choke it or it's got to get out of the way. That's what you're trying to do. That's the razor's edge that you're trying to do with a crankbait. And a lot of times, that bass is going to smoke it. Okay, it doesn't even want to bite it, but it sees it as a nuisance, especially if it's your 50th cast or so on a stump. It's like, get out of my face. I'm going to kill you, okay? So that's why it will do that. That's the beauty of crankbait. All the crankbaits can do that. Some do it better than others, okay? Okay. So that takes me to number 3. Okay, so number 3 is when you throw a crankbait, you always want it to hit something. The more things you hit, the better off you are, okay? So if you can line up 3 stumps in one cast, line up 3 stumps in one cast, make that cast, hit all 3 stumps all the way back. Okay? You guys got that so far? So get that in your mind. Because a lot of people are, and I'm guilty of this too when I first started fishing crankbaits, is this crankbait's got 2 trebles. Some even have 3 trebles. Okay? So you don't want to get it near anything. But it's one of those things where you have to believe in the bill of the crankbait. The bill is going to protect you from getting hung, okay? So you have to throw it at stuff. You have to cast past the stuff, past grass, past, like a sunken boat, whatever, and you have to crank it until it hits that target and deflects. It might deflect 3 or 4 times before it gets around this target, and that's where you're going to get your bite, okay? The bite, I would say a solid 90% of your bites happen as either you're approaching the target or you've just deflected off of something. That's where your bite's going to be. So you have to get over that hump of being afraid of getting hung up, okay? Because you're not doing yourself some justice. And this is where you're going to lose a couple of crankbaits, I'm going to be honest. Because if you're listening to this video, and if you got this far already, just go ahead and click that like and subscribe button. Because I got a bunch of these videos coming down, showing you a bunch of secrets with you guys and how to properly do things with lures. So help me out, sub to the channel. Okay, so here's a top secret trick, right? When you're throwing crankbaits, you need to know, this is where kind of that mid-grade gear kind of really comes in handy, okay? Or throw it on braid or something like that. You got to figure this out. But you need to know how your crankbaits feel. Like there's a certain vibration that it needs to give off the entire way, assuming you're fishing open water. As you chuck it out there, you start whining, if it's a thump, 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 it needs to give you that same rhythm the whole time, okay? When it starts, like, when it's about to hit something, there's going to be some, like, the thump's going to be a little bit less. You're going to feel a little bit less, and you're going to feel like it's grinding on something. Like your line is grinding on something. That's when you know you need to slow it down, okay? Because it's about to hit something, okay? So, and then you'll feel it hit something, and it'll go over, and then, boom, like it starts thumping like normal again, okay? So a lot of times, this is what's going to happen. When you start feeling it grinding on something, basically, if this is a lay down, right? The crankbait's on this side, it's coming along, it's actually down here, and it's got to go over the limb and back down, okay? That's what you got to do with a crankbait. Majority of the time, when the crankbait changes direction, so it's coming this way and it's going up, it changed direction, gets the bass's attention. It goes up over the limb, it comes back down. On the way down, that's when the bass usually gets it, okay? So keep that in mind. 90% of your lay down bites will be like that, okay? So you gotta learn how to do that. It's best if you do it with a crankbait from on a boat or a way for you to go get your crankbaits back, because it's gonna be kind of costly. But once you get that feeling, you can do that on all the crankbaits. Doesn't matter if it's a square bill, wake bait, deep diving crankbait. You do it on a deep diving crankbait on a brush pile that's 15 foot deep. You can do that too. You're gonna feel it. Something's not right. Thump. You go over that limb. Boom. Loads up. Get them. It's the same concept. It's just different. Every lure has a different vibration. Okay, so just pay attention to that. That little gem will carry you as far as you want to take it. The next thing is hooks. 90% of the hooks that come on a crankbait, they're not good. They are subpar. So majority of the crankbait market, they give you bare minimal crankbait hooks. The cheapest they can get away with, right? So you're more than likely not going to get some good hooks. Hence why there's also an aftermarket world of hooks, right? So my favorite brands, if you need to know, is the Owner ST36s treble hooks. Super, super sharp, fairly thin wire hook. It doesn't take a lot of pressure to penetrate. On the flip side, they tend to bend out a little bit more if you're fighting fish really aggressively. Okay, but and then besides that, we also have the owners. Not owners. The Gamakatsu round bends are really good too, and the Gamakatsu EWGs. They're just like the 2X strongs are just they're just that good. So those are the hooks I kind of recommend as far as treble hooks goes. But if you're like, man, I don't have the extra $2.50 or sometimes $3 to put brand new tournament grade hooks on, well, it's a simple solution: get yourself a hook file and learn how to sharpen hooks. Hooks, stock hooks that come out of the packages need to be sharpened. Every single one of them. Every single one of them needs to be sharpened. If it doesn't come stock or standard with owners or Gamakatsus on there already, they need to be sharpened. A majority of the Lucky Crafts that I get, they come with VMCs. This is not going to cut it. Got to sharpen every single point. And on top of that, you have to sharpen them, at least check your points, about once every hour, depending on how often you're fishing. If I'm cranking rocks, I'm checking those hooks like every maybe 20 casts. I'm checking the hooks, sharpen them again, okay? Because the most amount of fish by me is on stock hooks. On a long cast, you can't get enough pressure on those hooks, and they jump and they come off. Okay, that's a killer. Okay, so learn from my mistakes. Get the sharpest hooks you can get. Okay. And then number one is tuning the crankbaits. This is something that I don't hear a lot of people talk about. When they talk about it, they mention just a couple minutes. Tuning is critical on your crankbaits. Tuning, depending on which company of crankbaits you buy, some of them come pretty well tuned out of the box. Some of them come really bad out of the box. So you have to tune them. Of course, you could call the company, complain, they'll send you a new crankbait, but if you're already on the water, you need it right now. So you need to learn how to tune. And tuning is one thing, like I said, it is super, super critical. Even if you get nothing else right, this has to be one of the things that you need to do. If your crankbait is not tuned, it basically will not catch fish, okay? So tuning basically means your crankbait like this, right? Like in the middle. And it could go a little bit left, a little bit right, but it needs to always come back to the middle. Square bills are notorious for doing this hunting action. Other crankbaits just tend to stay in the middle. But if the crankbait tends to go off to the left or go off to the side, you need to take a pair of pliers, pinch the nose ring basically, and bend it a little bit to the left. Bend into the direction that the crankbait's going to. So it'll equalize water pressure on both sides of the crankbait as you're pulling it through the water, and causes it to run true. So everyone talks about running it true. 98% of the times, you want a true running crankbait. It thumps harder, it deflects better, it gives you more depth, and it catches more fish. Okay, so that's why you want a true running crankbait. The other 2% of times, that is super advanced stuff. We're not going to talk about that in this video. But anyhow, those are my top 5. I hope you guys enjoy that video. We will talk about other things. Give me some topics to talk about in the comments. And I hope you guys learned something. And when someone's going to say color doesn't really matter too much. All you want is a shad pattern and a blue chartreuse and a bluegill color for super shallow water. And that's it, okay? You don't need custom painted stuff. You don't need any of that. Because a crankbait is not a slow moving bait. It's actually going quite fast. So it's more of a, they see it, they can make a decision, they've got to bite it, or let it go. That's pretty much it. Alright guys, this is Connie from Out of Work. Hope you guys enjoyed my top 5 reasons why you're not getting bit on crankbaits. Hope that works for you. Hope one of these helps you out. Alright guys, see you in the next one.